May I introduce Natalie Spence, actress and singer.
Not specified. My cock's long. Did not.
Meredith Hepner Chapman, PR guru and expert at making a short story very long indeed.
I stick the shower in mine.
Stephen Carter Bailey, Great British Bake Off queen and resident agony uncle.
Oh my God, we should do this drunk.
And myself, Hayley Clapham, voiceover artist.
Did a dog just do a fart then in the background?
And I am your host for this week's episode. Welcome to episode 2 day of Four Calling Birds podcast. My name is Hayley Clapham, and this week we have got a real stonker for you. Not a stinker, a stonker. This week, I've interviewed Queen of Cups herself, Anna Johnston, aka Miss Trout, chatting all things tarot cards. And I had a glorious and very interesting reading with Anna.
You did?
I did.
Can we start off by, we're going to go to the interview in a little bit, but would you share any of your revelations with us before we go?
Well, I found that it was there weren't any great big revelations. It wasn't sort of, oh, this amazing thing is going to happen. And by the way, you're going to win the lottery on Saturday night. It was really interesting, the cards that she turned, because they were all about communication and voice. So very appropriate to me and what I do and my life. And it was genuinely really interesting, because I'm not going to lie, I was shitting myself before because I thought...
Jane Seymour.
I don't know. Yeah, just James Seymour, James Bond.
Death.
And I thought the devil was going to come and sit next to me and tap me on the shoulder, you know. So it was a really positive, empowering chat. And I did message Anna before and just say, look, are you going to tell me anything bad? And she said, no, that's not what it's about. And then we talked about what actually tarot is about, and it's really uplifting. It's really positive and really powering, and I really loved it.
And it's really a thing now. I mean, I know we're always ahead of the game, should I say, the game.
Yeah.
But every magazine I'm opening, it's all about the power of tarot. And we're going to hear the interview in a minute, so I don't want any spoilers. But I totally had the wrong idea of what it was all about, which Anna touches on. I did think it was, voodoo Jane Seymour and the devil tapping you on the shoulder.
Well, yeah, I thought it was going to be like the time when I was 14 and I did an Ouija board in my friend's kitchen, and her dad came and knocked on the patio doors and we all shit ourselves and ran into the front room. I thought it was going to be like that, but it really, really wasn't. It was really lovely. I was buzzing afterwards. I felt so light.
It's not spiritual. That's completely the wrong word, because it's not spiritual, is it? But so what is it? Is it like pagan or where does it originate from?
Oh, well, I think the actual true origins come from like 15th century Italy, and I don't know, maybe like monks or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But, it's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and people have used them for different things. But they're sort of like a meditative thing where, you might meditate every morning or light a candle and think of things that you want to do today. Maybe you have a mantra, or you want to sort of manifest certain things in your life, or, today I'm going to be really productive and it's going to be it's sort of a bit like that, really.
And do you ask it questions like you would ask the universe? Or is it literally, as Anna says, again, spoiler alert, but as Anna says, is it like just listening to your story unfold?
It's not so much about asking questions. It's about the order in which the cards fall, the order in which the cards are turned over. So Anna will explain it in the interview, but I think it was 9 cards altogether, and it's like past, present and future. Like what the first one is past, then it's present, then it's future, and then it's the cards mean different things when they're placed in a different layout. I'm not really explaining myself very well. Should we listen to the interview?
Yeah, I'm excited now.
I had just quickly, I had a tarot reading a few weeks ago. And
did you?
It was really, really interesting. Everything was, like she says, it's so like relevant and something that I perhaps didn't know, but brought it up and it made total sense. She'll talk more about that. Shall we listen?
Yeah, let's listen.
Yeah.
Welcome to Four Calling Birds, Anna. I'm beyond excited about our chat today. Now, you read my tarot cards last week, and it was brilliant. It was so positive and uplifting, and I was genuinely really surprised by how many cards that came up that represented the voice and communication. I think we both were, actually, when we were like, oh, look at this, look at this. It was really amazing and really insightful.
I'm so happy that you felt that way. I found it fascinating to read for you. And like you just said, the amount of cards that came up that were in correlation to communication and how relevant that was for you at the actual time of the reading is just fab. Yeah, it's I think I said it to you. It still kind of gives me a little tingle of wow.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah, it was incredible. Now you're a tarot card reader, and tarot card has got a bit of a bad reputation, hasn't it? People often think of witchcraft and the occult, and from my own experience, I messaged you before you read my tarot cards and said, will you tell me anything bad? Because I was really nervous, because the only sort of reference I've got of tarot cards is Jane Seymour in James Bond, and she predicts death with the death card, and it's a bit cartoony, isn't it? But that's not tarot at all.
No, it really isn't. And you're not alone in being kind of having those preconceived ideas. And largely it is because of society and media and films and kind of the old school kind of ways we view tarot, with the veil over you and you will meet a tall, dark stranger kind of thing. And it really isn't like that. I mean, for me, tarot is all about empowerment. It's about the here and now. And it's just about tapping into your subconscious and pulling everything out into the conscious state. So you're aware. Everything that comes up, you already kind of know. You already know it. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realise that they have the power. They're in control, really. It's kind of giving you that space and time to really focus in on yourself and listen to your intuition. And that is what tarot is for me. It's not the voodoo. It's not the scary, what you're going to tell me, what awful things you're going to tell me. I guess we've all got a morbid kind of fascination with that kind of thing deep down. But really, if I did sit down and pull something out and tell you something horrific, you wouldn't feel very good. And I wouldn't feel very good for doing it. So actually, it just saps on our energy. And we kind of navigate it together. I think as well, people don't realise that tarot is as much about the person that you're reading for as the reader. So we both have a job to do. We both sit down and navigate your story. And a bit like I was saying to you when we did your reading, it kind of reads like a chapter of a book. So each card kind of flips another page, another possibility, another angle that you're kind of experiencing or a challenge that you're going through. So it kind of just mimics your life, but also gives you some roots and opportunities and potential to kind of take the next steps in an empowering way for you.
And as a tarot card reader, you're sort of facilitating, aren't you, this process? And you are interpreting the cards, because am I right in saying that they mean different things if they're next to a different card? Is that right?
Yeah. So you can read them individually, but you also do read them across. You can read them. Yeah, it is important where they are next to each other and the placement of things. So, for example, when we read for you, we pulled one card that was more significant to the immediate past, another present right now, the next future. But then the following, I find the future cards are the most interesting, and they're the ones that kind of literally do fall next to each other in such a aligned, amazing way that you just you can't really read it in any other way other than it is like a book. I know I keep saying it, but it's like reading a book, and it's your story. And yeah, it's very important where they're next to it, where they are placed next to each other. But again, the other important thing to remember is you hold the key, you hold the power. Just because the cards have said something, you obviously have the control at any stage to make a decision, and that completely flips and changes it. And what's interesting is when we have people come back, I have lovely clients that come back quite close together. So I have some people I read for every 2 weeks, and that's fascinating because it literally, the very last line that I'll have read for someone in one reading, in 2 weeks' time, that last line kind of shifts to the very top. And then you see the kind of next chapter. So that's really interesting for me, watching that, and that really shows the power of those specific cards and why they were important. Everything is right at the time. It can never really be wrong.
There's a lot of cards to choose from.
It's a big pack, and this is again another thing I always make sure I tell people, that out of all those cards, we've plucked I think we pluck about nine cards in total. Those cards were plucked for a reason, and you have the power of, when you tell me to stop shuffling, it's in your hands essentially. But it's really interesting. I think I was saying this to you before, how in certain weeks, certain times of the month, how you get certain cards just keep coming back up for people. And that, for me, that's not just because I'm a good shuffler. I'm a good card shuffler. It's not dodgy shuffling, but that shows to me that we kind of tap into what's happening around us in our, the patterns of nature, our moon, all of that, and everyone's kind of vibing off each other in their own ways. And these repetitive cards that come up definitely sync up and happen for a reason. And that again is really fascinating for me as a tarot reader, just to see the synchronicity that's going on around us. Yeah, it's just I find it so incredible. I'm still very giddy about it, and I've done it for years.
And do you read your own tarot cards, or do you go to a tarot card reader?
So I do a pluck of the day on my social media for everybody. So I think that kind of channels a lot of my vibe on that day. And every full moon and new moon, I do myself a reading every month for defo. But I do like, I've got, I don't know if you've ever heard of Chris Corsini. I love him. If you haven't heard of him, you have to. He's the coolest, most modern tarot reader. Oh, God, I love him. He doesn't take it too seriously. He sees it for what it is. And I'd sometimes tap in and listen into my readings with him. But I'm quite intuitive with the cards now. And I only need to just, if I'm feeling a bit out of sorts and I just need a bit of rebalancing, I do reach for them, and they do sort me out, and they just mirror everything that I've kind of been thinking and feeling, and just help settle it. So I don't do it too often. I think because I read for so many people, I can get a bit taroted out, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But also I think it's important that I have that time where I tap back in and connect to it, because that's my source of my kind of energy that I'm helping to give out to people when we do their readings. So healthy balance. But yeah, I definitely do reach for my cards for me.
And you've grown up with tarot. It's always been in your life from a little girl. Tell us a little bit about your history with the tarot, and your family's history with the tarot as well.
Yeah, it's quite gorgeous, really. And I love that this is the way I was introduced to it. So I didn't read books or kind of, get taught in a traditional way. This was all through family. So my nana my great nana is from India, and her father was quite a famous, he was a psychic, so that's a bit different to me, but he was also a psychic, and he used the cards. And I just, ever since I was tiny, I've always seen somebody using tarot cards, again, in a really normal way, not in a spooky, lots of people around my house and it being a bit weird and a bit dark. None of that, just candlelit, quiet time, meditative, sort of chilled state, and just always seeing it. And I remember asking questions, asking about them, and it was always explained to me in such a normal, natural way that it was just us tapping into our intuition and getting a little bit of guidance. But actually the guidance was really all just being pulled from ourselves. It's just coming from me. And I remember really thinking, like, that's so powerful. That's such an amazing thing to be able to harness and have. And then, I think I don't know how old I was when I first got my tarot deck. I had some passed down to me from the family. And I think I was probably about 15. 15. And at that point, I really didn't see the full potential, not the potential I see now. At that point, it was, whoa, this is cool. This is a bit different. And I did have that pull of like, oh, it's a bit, this is cool. And it is, I still think it's cool now, but in a very different way. But the more I started to just play with them, explore, listen to how other people in the family had used them, the more I kind of found my groove with it. And it just started with me reading for friends or reading for myself. And, things like at Christmases, I'd say, oh, my little Christmas gift to my close unit of girlfriends is come over to mine, or have some gin, cake, that kind of thing. And I'll do you a little reading. And they were really simple readings at the time, like just 3 cards. But the way it made them feel, it was just beautiful. And the accuracy was just, again, quite incredible. And then that kind of grew really from there. People kept coming back to me saying, will you do readings? And it was actually, and I've practiced it for over 15 years, but it was lockdown when most people started coming to me and saying, would you do it online? Do you offer tarot? And I just thought, do you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to share this with people, because this doesn't need to be kept behind closed doors with just my friends or family. This is gorgeous, and it's actually so important for other people to kind of tap into, I feel, because it's such a simple but amazingly recharging, like, me time moment. And yeah, it kind of grew from there really, but it's the best feeling, and it's so gorgeous to be out with it. I know that probably sounds really weird, but you have for your tarot coming out session where people realize, oh, okay, you do that, do you? And you have the connotations attached to what people think a tarot reader is or what tarot is. And now I'm past that, and now people can really see the benefits of it that I work with, and I'm quite confidently open about it, because I know how it can be used every day nowadays, rather than the spooky ways people think it can be used.
Did you feel apprehensive because of all of the connotations and the sort of misconceptions that people have?
Massively. Really worried I'd be labelled a weirdo, even though I really am a bit of a weirdo anyway.
Weirdos are the best.
Yeah. But because, actually, interestingly, the thing that made me most apprehensive to talk about it was because I'm also an actor. So I was worried people might think, is this a part she's playing? Is this is this true? Can I believe this? Is this real? And that was a worry for me. So I felt like I couldn't be quite open about my full entire creative skill set, because I panicked that people might think that, or that people might just think that I was kind of exploiting people, which is the saddest thing. Like, I would never want to do that. And for me, tarot is the complete opposite of that. It's about raising someone up and making them feel that they are the center of everything. And yeah, I struggled for a while with charging. Oh my goodness, I now see it as the same kind of vein as if you go and get your nails done, or if you go and get your hair done, or you go to a yoga retreat, or do you know what I mean? Those kind of self-care things that we factor in that are important to us because they have their place. And I now view it as that, but I used to struggle for a long time because I loved it so much, and because it wasn't so widely discussed and talked about. I did panic about charging, and I didn't for a very, very long time. In fact, it's only been very recently I've felt confident enough to be able to, when I've just sat down and thought, all this empowering stuff I'm giving to other people, I got to listen to some of that to myself, because the benefits and the way people have, the testimonies from other people are just gorgeous, and it just makes you realize this is special. This does have a place, and people, if they choose to, this will be something that they use as a tapping back into me moment. Just like if you went and got your hair done.
Do you think anyone can read tarot? Do you have to have like a special bit of magic, a bit of something?
I think it's going to make me sound big-headed if I say that. I think that, yes, anyone, I think if you really wanted to, anyone can apply themselves to tarot. So obviously, I'm sure you're aware, you can get your own decks. You don't have to pass through the order of someone to get your own deck. But what I do feel is, because it's interesting, I've had a few friends that have said to me, oh, I'm really into tarot now, I'd like to get my own deck. And I'm quite quick to say, yeah, this deck is good, this deck is good. I do think, though, because of the nature of what you're reading and the navigating and understanding of cards, you really have to be careful, because as you'll know when we read, certain cards that come up, unless you really know what you're doing, you could interpret them and cause yourself quite a lot of stress. So, for example, we're talking like the death card, like that we know that means change, and that's actually quite an empowering and positive card, as well as it obviously perhaps signifying a bit of a challenge, to get through that kind of change. But I think there is an element of connection. You need to be connected. If you aren't connected in, and when I say connected in, I mean to intuition. I'm very intuitive kind of person. I always have been. I'm a very creative person. And I do think if you're kind of tapped into that kind of side of yourself, you are more open and able to read intuitively. Because for me, tarot is all about reading intuitively. So I think as long as you have that side there and you want to nurture it, I do think you can tap into that and perhaps find that as a skill. But yeah, there is something magic about it. And I do think I think it finds you. I don't think you find it. And in that sense, I think there is something magic in that, right?
I was looking into the history of tarot. I mean, it's been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. What were you told growing up was the history of tarot? Because it was a family thing, your great-grandfather, your grandmother. What's your understanding of the history of tarot?
For me, it's never really told to me in a kind of factual or a specific kind of way. I was always told that, going back to like runes, when runes were used, and that ancient kind of way of soothsayer, that person that kind of had that ability to connect and tap in. That's what I was taught. I was taught that it's about connecting into your intuition, and you apply that with the cards. So the deck I use is the Rider-Waite deck, which is a really traditional deck. That's not that old, but again, the history in that deck, the way the cards are drawn and designed, you can feel the history in them. And I love that. And now I've used that deck, I don't think I'll ever use another deck, actually. I know lots of tarot readers have multiple decks. I like that one. It's very traditional. It is known as the tarot deck, the original. And there's something about that I like.
Why would you have different decks? Would you use different cards for different situations?
Yeah. Or what the client that you're reading for might feel into. So, for example, you can get a variety of decks that the imagery is different, or so there's quite a funky one, a tattoo tarot deck. That's quite a modern one that's just come about, which is really beautiful. Oracle tarot decks, or angel tarot decks. So I think a lot of tarot readers use a variety because depending on seasons, I think some use them at different seasons, which is interesting, but they feel into that kind of vibe, I guess. But also I think having the options and saying to the client, which one are you leaning into, is quite another nice way of, again, picking up on intuitive vibes. So one deck might be more, I don't know what the right way, more gentle for them. Do you know what I mean? So I think
the imagery more gentle.
Definitely. I think the deck I use I find the imagery really beautiful. Even the cards that are, for example, the Tower. We plucked the Tower for you, and that that can look quite chaotic as a card, and it does represent a bit of chaos. However, there's something quite beautiful in that imagery. But if you're somebody that needs to see that card in a lesser intense way, there are certain decks I think that would work better. But again, I think it's down to the reader. I think it's how you make someone feel. I immediately feel it's really important to put people at ease at the very beginning and say some images on the cards might seem immediately, you'll put two and two together and think, right, that must be what that means before I've even said anything. But to hold fire and to remember that all of this is about empowering you. I'm not going to show you anything that's going to stress you out or cause you harm, because that's not what tarot is about.
What do you think is the most powerful cards? What's the tarot top trump?
Well, that's so hard. I think usually if you've got an ace comes up. So you've got the four suits. You've got cups, which are people, connections, healing, fluidity, emotional connections and ties to people. You've got swords, which are about communication, the way you are thinking about a situation. You've got wands, which are action. And then you've got pentacles, which are your security, work, roots, finances, and abundance. And if you got an ace in any of those, that always signifies a beautiful new chapter, new beginning. It's literally every one of those cards has a hand almost coming out from a cloud with you being given this, whether it's a cup, a pentacle or wand. And that's gorgeous. I always feel like that's always just a really beautiful card to see. Something beautiful is coming your way, a new chapter, something deserved, and you're not going to have to work too hard for it. It's almost like all the hard work has been applied, and now it's your magic. I just love the imagery of the cloud and something coming from the cloud saying, here you go, you deserve this. So I think they're amazing. The Magician is a really beautiful card. That's all about attracting, manifesting what you want. Now that's what tarot is all about. It's about sitting down with yourself and thinking, what do I want? How am I going to get there? And really honing in on specific kind of intentions, ways of being. And that card just sums that up. It's just all about step into your light, own it, and ask for what you want, and kind of start bringing in the stuff around you to kind of make this a reality, which again, I think is a really passion-led card. It kind of fires you up to kind of do. Yeah, there's so many that are gorgeous. I'm trying to think what's my actual favorite. I love Queen of Cups, but I feel like that's because I connect to that. Queen of Cups is who I am, like Queen of Creativity, that kind of thing.
Quite a spiritual tool. I was going to say, is tarot religious? And it almost is religious in a spiritual way.
I think it works around your heart center and your belief in yourself and your practice to things like the whole mother nature thing, the pagan kind of aspect stuff. I'm not full on in there fully with that, but certain things like rituals around moons, I definitely connect to that. And that for me is very much tied up in tarot, things like sound baths, sound healing, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very much, that's kind of, I suppose a spiritual kind of religion in a way. But the beautiful thing I find about this is that I'm not tied to anything. I'm at the center of it. And that's amazing. And very, again, I know I keep using that word, but empowering. And that keeps me centered and allows me to dip in for as much of it as I want to. It doesn't feel restrictive or judgmental in any format. There's no rules. You can dip in and take and absorb as much of that as you want to, which I love. It's very freeing in that way.
And you spoke about moons, and I know you do moon readings. Tell us about the connection between the moon and the tarot.
Oh, wow. I'm sure many of your listeners know this already, but we have obviously full moons and we have a new moon, and there's about a 2-week gap between the two. And new moons are all about new beginnings, ushering in brand new cycles and changes, and full moons are all about shedding and letting go what we need to over that month, ready to embrace the next month coming. And tarot around those times are just potent. I can't explain it. I mean, we're all connected to the moon. It has its effects on our emotional states. I don't know how everyone's found this week. Well, they won't obviously be going out at the same time, but we've just had a new moon, and it's been major, like emotional central. And when I do readings around those times of the moon for other people or for myself, I always notice it's much more, you get a lot more of the major cards. So in the tarot deck, you have the major arcana and you have the minor arcana, and major are quite key cards, and the minor are more your everyday kind of cards, the everyday hustle that we kind of do. And you often get much more of the major cards come up. And most people tend to be feeling, a bit like what I was saying before, most people tend to be feeling very much the same around a new moon or a full moon. You'll find that time when you'll be like on the phone to a friend, you're like, oh God, today I've just felt really emotional. I've just been really upset about everything, or everything's triggered me. And again, they'll say, oh God, me too. I was at the car park and blah, blah, blah. This happened to me. And I'm normally, fine. And I was just feeling everything. Or Mercury retrogrades. And we just had one. And wow, didn't we have one? And look what happened on Instagram. Instagram went out. I mean, you can read into it as much as you want. And yeah, it obviously was, it happened to happen on that day. But it's just very interesting that happened retrograde, when kind of that causes chaos for technology, or communication becomes a bit of a barrier.
What does Mercury retrograde mean?
So it's a phase of the moon. So it's when certain planets come. It's often Mars. Mars is linked to retrograde. It's when certain planets align and they basically, the effects it has on the moon is it causes communication disruption. So it's often things like people find technology going wrong, and a lot of things break, a lot of relationships get a bit sticky. And again, I know a lot of people are probably listening and we're thinking, oh, that's bonkers, like just this coincidence. And yeah, I mean, you could see it as that, but it's quite mad how in one chunk of time, when we don't get Mercury retrogrades too often, I think we have them a handful of times a year, but we had quite a massive one over the summer. We had like 2 in 1 month. I can't remember if it was June or July. And actually, I do something called Cosmic Coven with a wonderful lady called Kat, who does sound bath healing. And she's got these beautiful crystal bowls that she uses for the sound baths. And our events, we had a big one, Solstice by the Sea, that we were doing, our first ever one we'd launched. And we were like, right, we're going to do this. And I remember getting the message, it was a Mercury retrograde double one. And she was like, oh God, I can't believe this. One of the bowls it's just smashed. It's just like, and they're expensive, beautiful, gorgeous bowls, like, gorgeous. We had loads of things going on, like website issues, things not flat, the websites were down, various stuff. Yeah, everything works out absolutely fine. But for like a handful of days, it was just like one thing after the other. And I do think, there is something in that. There is something massively in that. And with the moon, again, very much the same. We can't deny that we're all connected to it, and the pull and tide of our emotional states is really massively swept up in that. And again, I think it's really amazing once you realize your connection to the moon on a monthly and emotional basis, you can really start to work with it and support yourself better with that. And there are so many wonderful books. So Kirsty Gallagher, she's got a fabulous book called Lunar Living, and that was one of the first books I read to kind of help me get more connected with that. And ever since then, I definitely am more in tune with that. And the readings, particularly when I do group readings, I share free ones on my Instagram, and so many people message and are like, right, I can pull so much from that. That's exactly where I'm at right now. And again, there's something magic in that. I mean, you can take what you want from the cards, as we've talked about when we did your reading. It's as much about you navigating it and feeling into it. But when a collective are every month kind of saying, wow, that's me, that's me, that's me, there's something really amazing about that. And that's bigger than all of us. That's Mother Nature doing her thing.
I'm definitely going to tune into some of your moon readings. Now, you give one-to-one tarot card readings. You do the moon readings, which you've just told us about. Hit us with your social details so all our listeners know where to find you and get in touch.
So you can find me on Instagram under @MissTrout. It sounds a bit bonkers, but that's my business alter ego, and that's Miss_Trout. And I'm also part of Cosmic Coven, which I just talked about, which is a collective, and we're based in York. We basically offer lots of beautiful offerings linked with moon, linked with tarot, linked with sound healing, just a space for anyone and everyone to kind of connect. No judgment, no needing to be fully into the know of everything when it comes to this kind of stuff. Just somebody just wanting a little bit of me time and to kind of open up and connect to what we do.
As always, we're going to be putting all those details in the show notes, so you can grab that at your convenience. Thank you, Anna. I've absolutely loved our chat. It's been brilliant, so insightful, so interesting. And I'm going to go back and listen to our tarot card reading again because I just loved it. And I'm also going to pay a little bit more attention to the moon.
There you have it. That was Miss Trout. What did you think?
So
That's
interesting. Really, yeah, really great. And it just made so much sense. Like my perception of tarot readings before hearing that and before my reading a few weeks ago, it was like you were saying, you know, it's only from what you've seen in films and what have you. And it's not about that, you know, it's not about death and destruction.
It really isn't, is it? It's the complete opposite.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, it's when I had my reading, it brought up some things that I wasn't necessarily aware about that were like sort of lying dormant, but that made so much sense. I think one of them was creativity. I can't remember the order of them and like what they all mean now, but at that point it was so relevant. Like one of them was fighting. I was fighting myself, and the rebel, a bit of a rebel. And the most important one, what I found fascinating, was one of them was transformation. And I've spoken about it a lot on the podcast, but I work with a life coach, and the program that we were working on is the transformation process. So yeah, so relevant, so interesting, and I think everyone should do it. And I didn't actually know, she mentioned some people have readings every 2 weeks. I would love to do that. I would love to have regular readings.
But she was saying it's something like getting your nails done or getting a massage. And I think if you seek, or if you gain some sort of peace or understanding or anything like that, then I think do treat it like a facial, you know, get it done as regularly as you can, or gift it to somebody else.
Yeah. It was such a great experience. I felt like she'd sprinkled sparkle dust over me.
Oh,
Yes, so I was going to say it definitely feels magical. It's not spiritual, it's magical. And she says her great grandfather was a psychic, and it obviously is a gift. I don't think anyone can just go, I'm going to go to uni and train as a tarot card reader. I mean, maybe you can. Sorry to anyone that's trained as a tarot card reader, but what I think is a gift passed down, and that's why it's so magical.
intuition.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I really loved it. And I really loved, I think, you know, having somebody read your tarot is maybe finding somebody that does your hair in a really great way. That you connect with them. Do you know what I mean? You like your hairdressers.
Self-care.
Yeah. And I really loved the way that Anna read my cards, because she was so positive and so intuitive and astute, and she was really empowering. She was like a soul healer, you know, and magical. She was like a beautiful witch. And I mean that in the most positive way. You know, we should all connect to our inner witches, because I think witches are wonderful things, and
we're the granddaughters of the witches they tried to burn. Yeah,
exactly. And I just loved, you know, she did say it was like a story, and I loved the way she told that story. And what was really evident to me was she was talking about her family history, and her grandfather used to read the cards, and it's just part of her DNA. It's part of her. Tarot isn't something that she's just picked up on a whim. It's like, oh, I'm going to give this a go, or like you said, go to university and learn how to do tarot. She was brought up with it, so it never felt weird, or it's always just felt like who she is, and just part of her life, and just very, very natural. And she's got deep love and appreciation for it, and that really, really comes across when you speak to her when she's doing tarot reading.
Oh, she's glorious on Instagram. You must all follow her. But I think she was so right. I know it sounds terrible to say, but from a PR point of view, you know, it was one of those things to sort of come out about, because a lot of people do see it as voodoo, or women in caravans with crystal balls, and you know, she's so not that. You know, she's just awesome, and she's an actor, and I think her time is now, because so many people are identifying the power of tarot. And can I ask, did you do it on a Zoom so you could see the cards, or how does it work? So can anyone do it? They don't have to go and visit her. It's not like in a caravan somewhere or
no, not at all.
TP.
She does it all on Zoom, and it's recorded so you can watch it back afterwards, which is really helpful because you just forget so much, and you can go back. And I think I've watched it about 3 times now. And
do you think it's still relevant to you now, even though she read, because she mentions when you do a reading, it's what's going on for you in the moment right now.
Moment, yeah. I mean, I think some aspects will still be relevant, but I also think it's quite a nice reminder of what was relevant then and why isn't it relevant now? Why is it past?
Yeah, how it's helped you.
Also, is it a good thing that it's past? Do you need to go and revisit it? So I think it is really helpful. Yeah.
I want mine done now. I really want mine done.
You should have it done. She was
I have
amazing.
to admit, I'm gonna sort of, I'm not gonna come in with the negative because I don't want to be negative. But
unlike you.
No, I know, right? I'm still not convinced. I know I am convinced, but what I think what's happened is just listening to you and Anna, Hayley, because it was lovely to listen and understand it with a new, fresh perspective. I think there are historical misconceptions around tarot, especially in films. We all watch Jane Seymour, and but I think what was interesting for me is it kind of, to me, sounds like everybody might not agree with this. It sounds to me like, and we've all read The Secret, but there's something in that. There's something where we manifest what we want through what we see, and through manifestation we subconsciously create it in a way. And that's what I felt. I thought, actually, it's really lovely because it's almost like a reminder of what is in there and what we're capable of. We talk about, communication, especially, which people might go, oh, that's really creepy because you're in communication. It's like, no, it's not creepy. It's actually just an affirmation. It's like, it's just almost somebody, an external person or force saying you're on the right track, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
You might fear something, but keep. And I really connected when I listened to Anna talk about it, because I thought she was going to be super spiritual, which I'm very suspect of because I'm a cynic. But actually, she was so cool and modern, and she didn't try to create this.
So I loved it so
there's
much.
mythical fairyland around it. She was really honest.
Would you not say
it's about you?
Spiritual then?
No,
Stephen.
Not especially. I don't. Meredith, why are you laughing at me?
No,
I
mean, yes, you're very. No, that's really mean.
It's really hard because I believe in the power of myself.
Yes, I was going to say you're very in touch with your own emotions. You know yourself very well. You're very self-aware.
Having been raised in an unusual religion, and being who I was very cynical of anything telling me something that I can't see or believe. So I am a bit of a cynic, and I try to break down that wall sometimes, but this wasn't about religion. This was about somebody saying, you shuffle the cards, you stop when I stop and you say stop. So I am, me being in control made me think, actually, I quite like the sound of this. And,
Yeah, and it is. You can see why it was coined black magic, which is why I like it, because people are always scared of things they don't understand. So there's this sort of romantic side of it. And I mean, I'm not spiritual at all. I'd love to be, but I've tried, but there's no depth to me whatsoever. I'm very much like my person. But no, there really isn't. I mean, there really isn't. I have zero depth. However, I do believe in magic. And I do believe that sometimes, if I've lost my keys or my phone for the 4 billionth time that day, if I stand in the room and sort of say, where is it? I think, or write it in a book. Where's my phone? Or where's something I'm looking, not at my phone, but something like a document I've been looking for 3 days. And I focus, and then I'll find it. It always either I write to not write to the universe, but I just do my own thing.
But this is why I like this.
I love that. Why? Yeah.
I like hearing Anna talking about it, because I then felt it felt exactly the same as believing in karma or comeuppance, which I do.
Yeah.
Which, it's silly for me to say I don't believe in, I'm not spiritual, but I suppose that's an arm of spirituality. I believe that there is a balance that, if we try to fuck it up, the earth will come back and
just be a good person. Just be a really good fucking person. Take whatever religion you want and draw from it all the good things.
I think being spiritual doesn't necessarily mean that, you're crystal healing and rue stones and all the rest of it. I think being spiritual can be just as what you've said, Stephen, that
being in touch with yourself.
It's just being in touch with yourself and your emotions and other people's emotions and maybe believing in karma and all that sort of stuff.
Maybe I am spiritual then.
I think we are all spiritual in a way.
Yeah.
But it's
and I love alternative remedies and all that. I don't take
you're definitely spiritual. You're not a saucer, Meredith. You're a big bucket. I don't know why I use that analogy.
Vacuous hole.
Vacuous hole.
Meredith's a big
I think
and that's just your vagina.
Yeah.
Just your vagina.
Oh, can we do a menopause thing soon? I've got so many questions about my vagina at the moment.
Have you?
At the door?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you should book an appointment with a doctor.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this more than I thought. I have to admit, Hayley, yes, I did go in this cynically thinking, oh, God, here we go.
But literally, you go into any interview cynically.
I do, but that's me. But then I think what we've touched on here is whether we're looking at tarot or crystal or comeuppance or Christianity or Judaism. I think when you find a center, you balance your center, when you're balanced in yourself, things like natural remedies do come true because reducing stress levels in the human body are what cause things like heart problems and breathing problems and skin problems. So when we reduce our stress, whether it's because through the power of the mind we believe in Jesus Christ or we believe that the cards have told us what is right and wrong, I do believe that when we seek solace and comfort and we find it internally, life feels better because we feel good. Mm-hmm. And so I have to admit I am reformed and I shall visit Anna.
I do have crystals by my bed.
That's crystal meth, darling. It doesn't count.
I love a crystal.
I've never washed them. You're meant to wash them in the moon, aren't you? Or something?
You meant to wash them in the moonlight, yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, to sort of repower them. And you're supposed to say a little mantra while you do it.
Yeah,
at a full moon or a new moon?
I think they get
or
more powerful if it's a full moon. I don't know. I'm just talking out my arse. I don't really know. But
we'll have to ask Anna.
Yeah.
I just run mine through the dishwasher on high. At night.
I just use a bit of pledge under a really bright light.
I just use a torch on my iPhone and a dusting cloth. I don't know why we suddenly went Welsh for this.
Have you got a minky? Do you use a minky?
That kind of minky, no.
I'd love a minky.
You've got a bucket.
A minky is like a cleaning cloth.
Oh,
so you can buy a minky bucket.
I just want to go back to what we just quickly go back to what we were saying about spirituality.
Oh, Hayley's
for me,
Hayley cut out. Sorry, say that again. Say that last sentence again.
Just going back to Anna and spirituality and all of that. So for me, you were saying, Stephen, it's whatever floats your boat. If it's good, if it works for you, if it's good for you, then go for it. And the tarot and especially Anna's, I mean, I haven't had my tarot cards read a lot. I haven't really got very many comparisons of other tarot card readers, but I did think she was wonderful. And it was just igniting some inner magic and some self-belief, which was so empowering and had such a very strong positive force on me afterwards. I just felt like I could, do anything.
That's brilliant. That's you pay more for therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what it's all about. That's what Anna was saying. That is what it's all about.
Yeah,
Oh,
I love that.
it. And Anna's really in touch with the moons as well. You mentioned, Natalie, you said Anna does her readings during every moon cycle, I think. And she does a lot of period what's the word I'm looking for? Period empowerment, but also talks about periods openly and poverty and she reads moons. Or does your tarot depend on the moon as well? Because it feels like a very female orientated thing. It like women are clearly the goddesses in tarot and
I don't think so.
Is it not? Is it not?
No,
I know she talks
well-
about a guy that does tarot who's kind of really
Yes,
cool.
My-
and
I've
hip
my
started
hop.
tarot
following
reader-
him. He's quite amazing.
My tarot reader was an Irish man, and
Oh,
he
really?
was absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
Okay,
Hugh.
I'm talking absolute shit then, but I think that's my
and-
perception from films then. Maybe Jane
Yeah,
Seymour.
probably. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily strongly connected to women. I think.
Do you not? I like to
No,
think
not
it's
at
because
all.
of...
I don't think the
Oh.
tarot is. No, there was a tarot reader called Chris Corsini, which Anna recommended, or she said that she follows, and he is quite fun actually. I've started following him, and he is quite
Yeah.
fun. I don't think tarot itself is.
But tarot readers in films are always Jane Seymour type characters.
because
and that
it's
must
real
have come from
tarot
somewhere.
readers.
No, but that
Because-
must have come from somewhere.
Yes, because it's witches.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always get... Because Anna's very... her Instagram is amazing. Like, it has taught me so much. She's so much younger than me as well. But she's taught me so much about women's sort of rights and discussing openly how we're feeling and endometriosis and women's stuff, you know, that we used to have to go and see a doctor about. And now we are having these conversations and normalizing, because there's a whole generation X turning into fucking nutters at the moment because of the menopause, and we're all wandering around not knowing what's going on. And thank God for women like Anna and these women who put themselves out there on social media to talk about things that might make people go, ooh, don't want to know about that. And
Do you know what? Do you know what I found out about the menopause today?
Oh God, what?
So menopause drugs in England you have to pay for.
Yeah, I found that out. Yeah,
In Wales it's free, but in England you've got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Viagra, on the other hand, is free. Like,
Says
fuck
it
you,
all.
patriarchy. I hope your cocks fall off. I hope you wake up tomorrow. with a
Having to
vagina.
pay for sanitary wear is just, to capitalise on females, menstrual cycles, which is how we procreate. Oh God, sorry, I could go off.
What
on
do you
completely.
take? What are drugs for menopause? Do you have to take
I'm
them?
taking a
No,
supplement.
you don't
at the
have
moment.
to.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting in there early. I haven't started anything really. I'm on the edge of, I think, slightly feeling restless at night and not sleeping well. And I had that thing that, which I just found out was a symptom, where you think insects are crawling all over you. I was getting that a few evenings, and it was really doing my head in. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to get in there early and just start taking a supplement now, subscribe to something. And it's all holistic and homeopathic. And
You can get a lot of natural supplements to help you, and you can get homeopathic treatments for it as well. I've got a lot of friends on HRT at the moment, progesterone and estradiol, and they've said it's really, really helped with their sleeping and their anxiety and lots of other symptoms as well. So I mean, there are lots out there. It just depends what is right for you.
And it's definitely worth investigating, because there's so many women out there suffering, and really suffering. I mean, suicidal suffering. So yeah, something to look forward to, eh? Oh, to
wait.
be a gay man. To be a gay man, Stephen.
Keeping my
Or
mouth
to
shut.
be 28.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, enjoy it.
Sorry, Natalie,
Enjoy
you've got this all
I mean,
to come, babe.
I'm not saying anything. I'm excited. Bring it on. Hey, are we going to do some Would You Rathers today?
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, I think producer Jeremy might need to hop in.
Jeremy.
Hello, birds. How are you?
Hi,
Hi.
welcome.
Hi,
Have you been
cockerel.
enjoying the chat about menopause?
I've been lurking in the corner for the whole time. I'm surprised you haven't smelt me.
Sorry, Jez has also been living
have you
with the
been doing in
menopause
the
as well.
corner?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've been living in that corner. Stephen can smell me. Sorry. It's lovely to be here. Also, Bez, I just want to ask you as well, what are you all doing on Halloween? It's just I'd like to invite you to a special place I've got for you on Halloween. That
Now, Jeremy is Mr. Halloween. Our
I am
house
there,
looks
Jez.
like something
I
out
am
of
there.
Hollywood. at
I've
Halloween.
never been trick-or-treating. I never get dressed up.
What?
I just don't.
What?
I think
Pardon?
because
Yes, suspense.
I think because
explain.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think because my parents, well, I grew up like I guess I grew up a Christian, and I guess it's not really something that Christians necessarily celebrate.
I could have just condensed that story really and just said, they're squares. That's it, really. So you've got to love Halloween. Embrace it, Natalie. Embrace it. Anyway,
Yeah,
you're
I
invited.
did dress up
We've
as a
gotta do it.
Peaky Blinder last year, but that's
Yeah.
a one-off.
From zero to hero, Spence. That's
Thank
my
you.
girl.
Thank you for the invite, Jeremy. I'll be there with bells on.
All keep your eyes peeled on the for the Halloween special podcast. So, Birds, I have to say, if we had a text line, it would be on fire. We've been getting tweets and messages in for the Would You Rathers. So thank you so much. And don't forget, you can send them in to us. You can tweet us, you can email us, you can message us on Facebook. Check out the show notes for all those details, because I can't remember them. The first one comes in from Mike Oxlong, and it's, would you rather lick someone's...
Oxlong.
Oh my
My
god!
cock song. Just got it. I was like,
Come on,
is
it's
he
his
somebody?
name. It's a laugh. It's his name.
Oh,
Is he
sorry,
somebody
Mike.
famous?
Mr.
I'm missing?
Oxlong.
Mr. Okay, all right, M. Oxlong. God, listen, I mean, sorry, Mike.
Sorry,
Oxlong.
Michael.
Oxlong.
My cockslong. Would you rather
My
lick someone's...
cockslong.
Christopher Walken.
Wait.
My
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, back to centre.
Okay, yes, right. Back to Santa. What? Where did he come in? What are you taking, Natalie?
Couldn't celebrate Halloween, Natalie.
Oh, of course, fucking Christians. Yeah, Easter and fucking Christmas. Yeah. Want the chocolate and the presents. As we were with the Would You Rathers, Mike Oxlong asks, would you rather lick someone's eyeball or suck someone's toes?
Eyeball.
Suck toes.
Toes.
Well, it depends whose. I'd suck Ryan's toes.
Would happily lick
I'd suck
someone's
Ryan's
eyeball.
toes.
In fact, I
have licked an eyeball before, and they will be way cleaner.
Yeah.
An eyeball would be cleaner than a toe.
but the
Eyeball,
texture.
every time. I would lick 100 eyeballs rather
me
than
too.
any
Absolutely.
stranger's toe.
That's a thing in Japan, isn't it?
Well, I lived in
What, sexual
Switzerland
thing?
for a year. This wasn't
Yeah, sexual
sexual.
thing.
It might be in Japan. I lived in Switzerland for a year and bizarrely had a lot of Swedish friends whose family all worked in IKEA in Switzerland. And my friend Patrick Svensson, if he got something in his eye, his mum used to lick his eyeball.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, for goodness.
That's a little bit.
They also
I
eat
think that
fermented
makes-
fish for dinner, so
Well,
I wouldn't
she's
trust
just eaten
anything they
chili.
do.
Well, that would be evil.
Or she's just had a bit of a how's your father with his dad.
Oh my God!
Stephen.
Quite frankly.
I trust anything the Swedes do. I really do. And if they lick their
Listen,
children's
if you knew
eyeballs,
what I put in
would.
my mouth, you would not want me licking your eyeball. You'd want me licking your toe. All right?
Yeah, the toe was the option. No way. Ugh.
I'd suck a toe.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
would
a toe.
you?
Yeah.
But a stranger's toe, though.
No,
You don't know
but that's not
what-
specified. My cockslong
Okay.
did not say. It didn't specify.
Just a man at the bus stop that you've never met before.
Oh, I don't know
Okay,
if I'd want
well,
to lick a man at the bus
would you-
stop, Sally.
Yeah, what would you want to lick his eye?
If I had to choose
Okay,
between
Boris
his eye or his toe,
Johnson. Boris Johnson's eyeball
Fuck
or
that.
his toe.
I'd lick his eyeball and I'd
Run.
bite
Spit
it
in
out.
And nut him on the way
I'd
out.
eaten
And
chilies.
I'd eaten chilies and I'd have razor teeth.
Okay, fair. Good point.
Right, okay. That was an interesting one.
Next
Jess.
one.
Thanks for that. Thanks
I
for
mean,
that, Mike.
for impartiality, I mean, I would lick Keir Starmer's eyeballs and toes, quite honestly. But,
Yeah.
Why Keir Starmer? Oh, because we asked about Boris.
Be-
Okay.
well, I'm being
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I never think of Boris as a politician. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. Emmanuel Macron, I'd lick his toes.
Oh, Trudeau, I'd
Or Trudeau,
do
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Trudeau.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd lick whatever
any
I
day.
wanted.
That's enough politics talk,
To
ladies.
be fair, I've got a bit of girl
Yeah,
crush.
politics. for
I have got a
podcast.
girl crush on Angela Merkel, so
I've
I'd probably
got
lick
a
hers.
girl
Have you?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No, I bet she's
yeah.
got right trotters.
No.
No, leave her alone.
No.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Next, would you rather has come in from a Hugh Jardon, and his question is: would you rather snog your celeb?
Hugh Jardon.
Yeah.
Jardon,
Yes, lovely.
might be
That's-
Jardon.
that's a real
Hugh
person that's messaged
Jardon,
in.
Jardon.
We've
Yeah,
got some
I'm
very interesting
Yeah,
listeners.
I've seen the emails.
Lots of men.
Would you... No, don't worry, there's two more. Would you rather snog your celebrity crush or get paid £100,000? Or, because we're a global podcast, that's $137,820, €118,559, 184,662 Australian dollars. And for fans of Squid Game,
Yes.
that's an awful lot of South Korean won. I think it's about 163 million or something like that. Anyway, the question was, would you rather snog your celebrity crush or be paid £100,000 and subsequent other currency conversions?
I'd snog Zac Efron.
A cold hard cash. I'm 47. I really can't be arsed with snogging people anymore.
My initial thought was cash, and then as I thought about Lenny Kravitz leaning in,
And you lick his eyeball.
I've got a slight
I don't think we need to
predicament.
I don't think Hugh Jardon asked for celebrity crushes, who they are, Meredith. And the fact that Natalie brought up Zac Efron as well, I mean, already I was tutting. There's a sore spot in our house.
take
isn't
the
it?
money.
It's like he's got a big bee sting now, poor thing.
What?
He does.
Zac Efron, he's just...
Oh, I thought you meant Lenny. Lenny just looks more beautiful every day.
Right, and Hayley, you and I are of the money...
No, I'd take the money. No, I'd still take the money. In
I
hindsight.
mean, my celebrity crush would be Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, when he was in Great Gatsby. Yeah,
Yeah.
Great Gatsby. Got a real thing about him in that. But I'd still take the money. Sorry, it's like, you know what? No kiss is ever worth
But
that
what an
much money, whatever much it
experience.
was.
You could say
Well,
to your...
no one
you
would
could say to
care.
people-
I don't give a shit.
Literally,
about kissing a
no
boy.
one would believe me.
Okay,
and
but
no
do
one
you
would care?
It,
That's
he,
all that matters.
Unless he's got a tongue like an electric shock, I'm not interested. He's going to have to be a really good kisser.
You
That's
like
not
an
with-
electric shock kiss?
Well, I don't know. You know, something that's really going to knock my socks off.
I
Okay.
do love a snog, and I love snogging my husband. But I am one of those
I love
people.
snogging your husband too, Meredith.
But I am one of those. I
I'd
am one
love
of
to
those
snog your
people.
husband.
If I have a there's kissing and there's smooching, but there's snogging, and I actually get really carried away in a snog, and I might want to go all the way. So I'd take
Shit yourself.
What, lick the eyeball too?
I can't laugh because I've got this cold and I sound.
Well, I think,
so
no, you're right,
disgusting.
Meredith, because I think a snog, a passionate snog, is sort of a pre-game to
Yeah.
a
So
full-on
no,
snog.
I think I'd walk away
I
frustrated.
think it'd actually be quite
So-
unpleasant if you
Yeah.
snogged somebody and had to walk away. It's like
Yeah.
stopping mid-wank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Take
no,
the money.
I
I'm
take
totally
the
taking
money.
the money.
Take
Yeah,
the
I'm
money.
dead
And
down
also,
there.
part of having a crush is like it's nice to think about it. You never want, like they say, never
Yeah,
meet
never
your
meet
heroes.
your heroes. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
would be your
exactly.
hero that you'd never want to meet?
Me?
But- I thought, did you say me?
Oh,
No, I
yeah.
thought you were asking me, but thanks for that, Meredith. You met
I
me.
would want to meet. I think Stevie Wonder would be everything I hope he would be and more. So I think that. But yeah, there are probably some I wouldn't want to meet Madonna. I don't think.
All mine are female chefs anyway, so I don't want to snog them anyway.
Shall we move on to another Would You Rather? Do we have another one, Producer Jez?
I'm so sorry, I was in a slight daydream. I was trying to work out who my celebrity crush is. I'd snog. There's so
Who
many.
is
I was
it?
going,
Out
I
of
don't wanna-
spousal interest,
We
who
haven't
is
got enough
it?
time. I don't know. I was just thinking about them all, and then was thinking about snogging them all, and just got carried
Who's
away.
the weather girl? Carol Kirkwood.
Carol Kirkwood.
Oh, the Scottish one.
Well, yes, Carol Kirkwood. I don't think I'd like to snog Carol Kirkwood. I think I'd just like to take her for a nice meal and just chat.
Aww.
And,
that's nice.
Talk about the weather.
Talk about the weather. I just love Carol. Anyway, the next one that's come in, you know what? Those two last ones, I'm not sure they were real names, and this one I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
This surname, they can't have this surname. Oh, that's my eyesight. It's Quinn. Sorry, the Cheryl Quinn has asked, would you rather be able to see 10 minutes into your own future or 10 minutes into the future of anyone else but yourself?
Oh no, this is horrific.
And anyone but myself.
I think anyone but myself, because I think 10
Yeah.
minutes is a bit boring. And also, I know what I'm going to be doing in 10 minutes. Sorry, I won't tell you what it is. So I just think, also, if you know you're going to die in 10 minutes, like, fuck, I've only got 10 minutes. Whereas if it's someone else, you think,
once I know, I'd be like, oh, there's no point. If I saw that I sort of fell off a cliff or something, I'd be like, oh, I can't be bothered to hoover today. I'm just going to eat a box of chocolates and watch Netflix.
How are you getting to
Yeah.
a cliff in 10 minutes?
that's the point.
Well, it's only 10 minutes of it's not the next 10 minutes, is it?
Yeah, the next 10 minutes. That's what
Yeah,
he
the next
literally
10
said
minutes.
less than a minute ago.
Well, my life is literally
We're down to 9 minutes now.
my life. My life is literally Groundhog Day, so I know.
Well, we know what's going to
exactly-
happen in the next 10 minutes of your life.
Yeah, filming my
Your
dogs,
cousin.
smoking a spliff, and drinking tea. What do I need to know? No, well, yeah, I'd happily. How boring. See you in the next 10 minutes. Or I think, no, I think it'd be awful. Imagine choosing to see into someone's life and you see something terrible happening and you're sat on your sofa. I don't want to answer this at all.
It's distressing you.
Yeah.
We've got one more, and this one comes in. They sent one in last episode as well. It's C. Walken. It says,
My favourite listener.
I love him.
"Thanks for reading out my last question, but just don't do it in my voice next time." Sorry, C. Walken. This question is, would you rather see what was behind every closed door or be able to guess what the combination is of every safe on the first try?
100% the latter.
Me too. Safe.
Yeah, same.
What's the benefit of knowing who's behind a door? But yet to be
Well-
open to crack safes. I mean, there's just no comparison to this question.
Yeah, but would you, if you
Would
were
it matter
in
where
a
you were?
would you want to get into someone's safe, like any safe, if you knew you were going to commit a crime?
Well, the thing is, I think if there's a safe with something in it, it's something that they want protected, and I always want to see what people are hiding.
Would you take it?
Yes, I would.
Without sounding like a...
You're very confident in that answer, Steve.
I would take it because
Without...
I don't know. I don't know whether I would. I think for me, knowing behind what's
Just knowing what it
behind a
is.
closed door is a bit of a spiritual thing. I think there's something sort of nice about not knowing, but a safe is sort of that sort of they're trying to hide something. That's what I
No,
want.
I'm thinking purely practical. My grandma had a safe and she could never remember the code. Like, it was just excruciating. She'd have to ring my mum. And I just think how just to be able to remember it. that I can remember excruciating. I don't want you to think there's like bullions in this and so I'm some rich wanker from Switzerland. She had all the flats.
No, you're not
built.
rich.
No, all the flats, which my grandmother lived in a flat, and they all had safes. It was just it was like some hotel rooms have safes. They weren't like vaults or anything like that. But she used to put.
No, I think it's a
things in it.
generational thing. My grandparents had safes.
Yeah, it wasn't like, but she could never then remember the code, and it was one of those left, twist, click, right. It wasn't like a keypad, and I can just remember, wanting to go out, and she wanted to wear a necklace or something, and we could just never remember the code. So I'm thinking purely practical, not to commit crime. Obviously.
So say you're in you have this power, right? And you just happen to find yourself in a bank, or you're at a party, a house party at some nice house, and that you see a safe, or you're in the bank and you see a safe. What would you do? Would you steal something? What's the point of knowing what's in there?
If I was in a bank and it was empty and there were no CCTV cameras and there
you've got
was
to
a
get
safe.
through all of that first.
Yeah, but I would never go to a party and see a safe and crack it.
So
no, I wouldn't do that. No.
maybe you choose.
No, I
the
don't
door.
mind stealing from like the government or big corporations, but I wouldn't steal from people ever.
So
Hayley?
now I'm imagining myself.
I'd use it for good things. Robin Hood.
I'm imagining myself as like a 47-year-old female Jason Bourne that's not very athletic, and like a bit of a spy.
Yeah.
And I could use my safe cracking skills to get passports and hide from the Swiss police because I'm in Zurich sharing a flat with Jack Severetti. Stuff like that. I think it would be quite exciting because I'm an international spy. So if I was an international spy, then yes, I would. I would like to be able to crack safes.
But I can't
And
see how
also
seeing
I'd
what's on the
like
other
to be
side
able
of a
to see.
door.
If you're an international spy, though, that would be quite good. I think if you're an international spy, any of those skills would be quite beneficial.
Yeah.
But do people just stand behind doors? Like,
No, but
what's the
you
point?
could be...
Well, if they want to open them, yeah.
But what's the
do you
point
mean?
of
Do people
seeing them?
just-
Like, We can't see who's behind a door, and it wouldn't benefit us if we did going into a shop.
But if you're an
yeah.
international spy and there's somebody with a gun behind the door or a knife and they're going to come and try and kill you, then you could just kick the door down and then jump out of a window and then crack a lock because you've got that safe cracking
I think
thing.
spies
and then get a
always
passport.
assume there's someone on the other side of the door, but it is a good. I don't know. It's that whole question: if you were invisible, what would you go and creep into, listen to conversations? And I think it'd be awful.
Basically,
there's a moral
Seawalker's
compass.
question is only suitable for international spies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is very.
I think we just have
appropriate.
to assume that we are.
Yeah.
I think there's always assume as well that there's someone behind the door and have the safe cracking skill.
Did we answer that question? Has Jeremy just gone to lie down in a dark room?
Yeah. Would safe cracking also apply to stopping bombs going off? Because now I've gone down the whole Jason Bourne route, and there's always like a code to stop a bomb going off.
Mm.
Would that be applicable as well? That skill
no,
set?
safes only.
Oh, okay.
No
well,
bombs
still, I think
involved.
it's still
But maybe the code is in a safe.
right.
Maybe.
I like that thinking.
Much more useful skill then than seeing behind doors. Just assume there's always someone behind a door. Go for the safe option, literally, and go for the safe option.
Okay.
I'd want to see behind doors, definitely, because whenever I'm walking through places like airports or schools, wherever, and you see
glass.
that it says staff only or no entry, I want to know what's
It's just
behind that door.
toilets.
Oh, were you
It's
thinking
toilets.
of perving as opposed to
No, not bad.
spying?
I'm just nosy. I just want to know what's behind doors that I can't
You
go
want
in.
to be able to
Jeremy?
see if we're going to see our daughter at university. You're saying that you'd like to be able to see through all the student doors into all the student
No,
flats. Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
just saying, like, if I was in like a pub and there's a door that says no entry, staff only, I think, what's behind there then? And look through and you go, oh, there's stairs. Oh, there's a house above here. Oh, that's interesting. It's just purely for fascination, not for perverse reasons.
It's either going to be a toilet or a
Broom cupboard.
broom cupboard. Yeah. There's-
I'd find that fascinating, though. Only because if I'm in a restaurant and you're sitting there and the conversation's dried up and you think I can see behind closed doors. Oh, it's a broom cupboard there. It's interesting. What have they got in there?
This is a man that once bought wrestling figures to a restaurant to play with.
The kids brought them and I just started playing with them.
Thank you, as always, to our stupendous listeners. We love you and thank you for supporting our sweary, rude, but tremendously fabulous podcast.
Informational.
You always learn something new here.
Yeah, I
And something
do.
old with Meredith.
Oh, yeah. Every day is a school day, isn't it? And it is very honest.
Honest conversations.
That give us all a voice.
Yes. Just so honest. Like drunks. Don't forget, you can check out all our previous episodes on your usual podcast provider.
Yes, and please do check us out on social media. We're everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Get in touch. Just search for Four Calling Birds podcast.
And don't forget to check out our fabulous carbon neutral merchandise at our Four Calling Birds store. And we will see you all next time.
Whoop whoop. Bye.
Bye.
I'll say that again. I was trying to figure out who Cheryl Quinn was. Can you say I wasn't listening?
No,
was
I
like,
think it's
is
in the
that a
Quim. It was Quim.
Is that a real one?
What, Quim? No. The word
Is
Quim
that a real
is like,
name?
No, it's Quim. But it's
Oh,
the
I
joke.
fucking love that your
the joke is that
names
the
are
two
just falling
ends-
flat.
The two ends made it like an M. Quim. The word Quim.
Quim.
Are you aware of the word Quim, Natalie, with an M?
Oh, I mean,
I thought it was,
Globally,
but
people
now
are
I'm not
now.
sure.
I don't think I'm going to be putting this in. Talking about
Quim-
the word
Quim
Quim.
Quim is a vagina.
Yeah, it's a
Natalie.
Quim.
like a gooch, really.
No.
like that.
The
Gooch
gooch is an area.
Well, isn't a
Between-
quim sort of the Gucci bit of the vagina, though?
No, Quim is the vagina.
Gooch bit of the vagina.
Well, there is. There's the perineum.
Well, no, because that's
there's the
no,
vulva.
but the boys have the gooch as well.
The Quim is 100% vagina.
Yeah, it's just the vagina.
It's the whole
Hayley
thing.
sounds
all about the vagina.
That's Hayley's soundbite. The quim is definitely the vagina.
The quim is 100% vagina.
Oh dear God!
It's the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, well, we used to be radio presenters. We used to be something.